Hello, hi. Hey everybody. Okay. You can hear me, right? Everything's on, working according to plan, hopefully. Hey everybody. Hey Sue. Hi. Okay, good. I've got confirmation. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Fiandor, I just saw the soundtrack in the chat. I love that. I love it. Woo. Well, what a day. I can't wait to tell you everything that's going on. Carol Himple, hi. Happy holidays to everyone. It's that time of year, you know? It's really, it's December 7th, so, how many shopping days until Christmas? You know, my family, there are no small children in the Fonz family. I don't have kids. My older sister Hannah does not have kids. My younger sister Rebecca, man, we really want her and Jack to have a kid, but you can't press people into doing these things. Rebecca will be 39 in July. And, it doesn't matter, you know, you can have kids at almost any age. But I don't know. It would be so lovely they are such wonderful people, you know, my sister Rebecca and my brother-in-law Jack. But, so, it's interesting. A few years ago, I've got a little folder on my desktop. It's not supposed to be there. All right. A few years ago, you know, we all sort of looked at each other at the holiday time and, realized that it didn't have to be, you didn't have to get everybody a gift, and it didn't have to be such a thing, right? And it's not that we didn't want to celebrate, of course we did, but we made the decision to we draw names out of a hat, and you get somebody's name, and that's the person you buy a Christmas gift for. And, so I'll draw Mom's name, or, whatever, Jack's name, my stepdad's name, and there's a $250 limit. You can't spend more than that, and you get the one gift. But then we have tuck-ins. That's stockings, but was it Rebecca who couldn't say stockings? She said tuck-ins. So we have tuck-ins, and, I usually spend a little bit more than I should on tuck-in gifts because, I don't know, I'll find something, really neat and put it in a tuck-in for somebody. But, so we do Christmas in Chicago. That's been the tradition. And everybody comes to Chicago because Rebecca and I live there, usually. And we see the Goodman Theater has a Christmas Carol. They do Dickens' Christmas Carol every year. And so we go and see Christmas Carol. And my friend Christina, who's my friend from way back when, is an actress, a brilliant actress in Chicago, and works with Steppenwolf and all the big theaters, including the Goodman. So one year we were able to see, a couple of years we saw Christina at the Goodman. Anyway, but the message that I have, that we learned this, over the years, my family, people would come to Chicago, and it was the holiday, and it was so exciting to see everybody. And my sister Rebecca is the cruise director. She organizes, she gets the tickets for the Goodman, and she makes the reservations and whatnot. And my mom and I love to ice skate together. And Chicago's got great ice skating. I'm pretty good, by the way. Pretty good. And, I can turn and stuff. Secret skill. But we realized a few years back, you don't have to be together the whole time. And maybe that sounds a little weird. But if you've got tickets to see an exhibit, and you've got, lunch here, and then you've got, tickets to the show, and then you're going to go walk in Hyde Park. You don't have to do everything. We sort of accepted the fact that we're all adults. Sometimes when you're traveling, especially when you're traveling, Hannah's coming in from New York City, sometimes you just want to chill. You're there for 4 days, 5 days. You don't have to do everything. It's not like a grand tour every year. So it's very chill, Hannah's not coming this year for Christmas. I don't know. I'm feeling like that's changing a little bit because I don't know that she came last year. She went home for Thanksgiving. Anyway, we'll see. But soon I will be in Chicago. And on Christmas Eve, we see the Goodman Christmas Carol, and we go to dinner at Mon Ami Gabi. And then on Christmas Day, we all go over to Jack and Rebecca's house. And Jack loves to cook. So he makes amazing breakfast. And we start drinking Prosecco pretty much as soon as we get there. Not everybody, but, You know I will. So that's the Christmas thing, and it's just lovely, and I'm so excited. And I couldn't sleep last night. I'm dragging, man. I had like a 20-minute power nap earlier, but I had to get up because I had a call with the lovely Brandy of quilteronfire.com. Quilter on Fire. I'll be on her podcast in January. And I just need to tell you that she was lovely, and you should seek her out and find her stuff and listen to her podcast. She's delightful. And you know why she calls herself Quilter on Fire? Because she was a firewoman. She was a firefighter her whole life, right? You know, her career was as a firefighter. And then she's recently retired to do quilting full time. And I just think that is really badass. I mean, what is there anything more that than a firefighter? I don't think so. So that's really awesome. So we did our little pre-podcast interview, but I couldn't sleep last night because I'm excited. I'm excited because we are going home to Chicago a week early. We're leaving on Thursday. And we're going to be in Chicago for like 2 months. I'll go to QuiltCon and I'll fly back to London from Phoenix. So it's like, here I am at QuiltCon, doing my thing, gotta run back to London. So you know what I gotta do tomorrow, and then I'm gonna say hi to everybody and we're gonna get on with things. Tomorrow I'm getting a perm. I gotta freshen my perm. I love my perm, and you know, I gotta do something about it. I mean, it's doing great. I didn't do anything with it today, but I love my perm and I have to get it freshened up before I leave the big smoke. Okay, so now we say hi to everybody. I do look a fright. It is what it is. Now I'm going to say hi to everybody, and then I'm going to tell you what this show's about, if you're new here, or if you're not new here. If you need reminding why we're here, what this show is, and why it exists. And then we get into the quilt behind me. There's always a different quilt behind me for every show, and that's how we start the show. Today's show, forget it. It's going to be amazing. Amazing. I have my crisps. I'm ready to go. Carol Hempel, God bless you. God bless us. Everyone, I'm so glad you're here. Amy, it's great to see you, Amy. Terry Mag from California. I'm so glad you're here. This is great. Caroline is in Germany. Caroline, I got bad news for you. When I go home to the States, I'm going to be doing like primetime shows at like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, you know, because I'm really curious about like how that will go, like, you know, evening time shows during the week for the Americans. So, I mean, I can't do those times because, you know, over here in Europe, it's like 3 a.m. here. So, I don't know. It's complicated, you know. But I hope you can watch the replays on YouTube or Twitch. And anybody who's watching on YouTube, hello. I'm glad you're here. I can't have the chat in front of me for YouTube. If you can get to Twitch, you can be a little bit more involved in the show. When I'm in Chicago, it'll be no problem. The internet here, it does something weird. When I open the YouTube chat, it's like too much for it. So I can't see your messages, but I'm really glad you're watching, and I hope that you enjoy the show. And if you're watching the replay, thank you. Okay. Sue is here in the chat. Mark Wesley, you got back from your daily walk. Excellent. Where do you go? What's your loop? A mile? 3 miles? More than that? Little, just down to the end of the block? It all works. Little Bird Stitch is listening today as she's planting bulbs before it's too late. It's great. It's great. A lot of quilt makers are gardeners, you know. Not this one, but hey, it's first time chat from Cindy D. It's your first live, Cindy D. Everybody, do give a welcome basket emote to Cindy D. I'm so glad you're here. It's great. I mean, hang on to your hats. It's so much fun to see the show live, Cindy. I'm glad that you're here. We love for, you know, the quilt nerds to contribute. I mean, that's what this is all about. Otherwise, I'm doing all this research by myself. I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to do it in front of everyone and the internet forever. Yeah, great. So you're catching up on the replays, and you finished the Budapest episode with my mom, right? And the live notification came up. I'm so glad. And you're doing mitered corners on some Christmas placemats. Oh, you're good. You're very good. Oh, corners, man. Yeah. The music is... Oh, Cindy, you're fine. I mean, just welcome to chat messages, right? It's chaos. It's all good. Yeah, the gospel music the sort of tent revival music I play during the be right back moments and in the front of the show it's got to be that way because this is Quilt Church, man. Theodore, it's so good to see you. I love those emotes. Son of a Preacher Man, I wish. Well, I mean, yeah, I've got that little clip. I need to bring that back. NDH is here. NDH is here from the 611. Yeah, exactly. Dee Marie is here. Hello, Dee Marie. Marianne, I got your message. Agreed. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I got to message you back. Okay, today was crazy. My Holmes is in the chat. You finished your quilt coat. Yes, you have to put pics in the Discord. Yes, we have a Discord. I need to get help with the Discord. It's just like, I got to post the show notes from last night. It's been a lot. Hey, Jay Dancer, I'm so glad you're here. It's cool if you can't stay. You got to do what you got to do. You know, it's the holidays, man. But thanks for dropping in. And thank you for saying hi. Always say hi, even if you have to take off. Like, it's all good. And yes, Sue is here. Great. And Ivana is here. The show can begin. I'm not packed and ready to go, but I did start packing today, actually, because I've got some Christmas gifts and things, and so I thought I'd start early, make sure I get everything. And Hex, I'm so glad you're here. And Hex and Sibby Mac, Merry Christmas. Merry Twitchmas. It's Merry Twitchmas. It's true. I love this background quilt too. You know, the thing is, I love to make content. I love it. It's what I do best. I do a lot of things really badly, but I do content pretty well. And I stand by that, you know, no qualifiers. Being an editor, you'd better do content well, you know, this is like what I do. And, you know, yesterday, the quilt we had was a crazy quilt from 95, you know, and it was kind of wild. It was kind of crazy. But, you know, this is a quilt that won a prize in 2018 at QuiltCon. Okay, you're seeing a detail of it. And it's like, this is what I want for you. It's what I want for me. I want to go from, remember the Fort Dearborn quilt that we looked at, you know, a few streams back? Amazing, that silk pictorial, like, sublime moment that we had with that quilt. You know, we go from that to this, because this is why this show can be good, because we have just that much dynamism in the quilts that we make. And, you know, so we'll get to all of that. But thank you. I'm glad you like it. I had nothing to do with it, but I did pick it. Nose to Quilts. You're on your way to pick up some personalized Yankee candles. Christmas prezzies. I say prezzies too. I say Talkins and prezzies. Excellent. Oh, the Marshall Field. I can't talk about Marshall Fields. I will literally cry. It's Macy's now. Sue, it's the first time you won't be home for Christmas. Wow. Oh my God. Your 5-year-old grandson. Oh no. It's because of the COVID, right? Is that, you don't have to say, but I mean, I assume it's like, you know, careful stuff, or who knows, but that's there's nothing good about that. I'm sorry to hear it. Yes, you can quilt all day. I give you permission. Oh, great. No one can sleep. There's too much to think about. SJ, my pizza tee is from Target. I needed a t-shirt. I'm told this is from, what is it? The Matt Groening Show, not The Simpsons. I know, it's terrible. I don't like wearing a logo shirt at all, but, and then if I don't know what it's from, it's like really embarrassing. But anyway, I didn't have to tell you that. I like it too. I like pizza, so that's why I'm wearing it. Wait, did we know this? Wait a minute. I mean, it's hard for me to skip anyone. I have to say hi to everybody. So at some point, if this show is like, you know, there's 100 people in the chat or something, it might be a little bit harder. You know, I don't know how that's going to work, but for right now, I say hi to everybody because we are a very tight-knit community here. And I have just learned from Ivana something that I did not know, Ivana. Ivana is a licensed funeral director and embalmer. And one of her other degrees is criminal law studies. Did we know this about Ivana? I didn't know that. I just knew that you are a long-arm quilter extraordinaire and that your husband is amazing and painted your long-arm quilting machine red. I mean, that's like enough to be like, Ivana's amazing. But that's I mean, I met a firefighter today, and now I know a funeral director and embalmer and a criminal law degree holder. I mean, this is your company, right? These are the people that are around us when we are quilter people. Amazing. That's so cool. It's just amazing. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay, Caroline. Yeah, we'll see you on the replays. It's okay. I'm so glad. Yeah, I should be packing, but I want to be here so bad. Thank you, Sujan. That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm so glad you're here. Molly Squared. I'm so glad you're here. Everybody's here. Wait a minute. Molly has 2 new kittens. Are there cat emotes? You have 2 new kittens? Will you post a picture in the Discord? Oh, man. Okay. SJ's here. Okay, I think... Did I say hi, SJ? Okay. Oh, you've got Instagram. Okay, well, I might have to click. We might have to look at the kittens. Oh, God. Okay. I'm dead. I'm totally dead. God, they're so sweet. Oh, no. Molly. Everybody follow Molly on Instagram. Look at these 2 chuckleheads. And yes, those are the chairs from Schitt's Creek. I don't know what I love more. No, okay. Those are beautiful cats. Are they, oh, I know that person. The Write Down. The Write Down shows up at this show frequently. Tell us, Molly, are they rescues, adopted? They're definitely kittens, but they're tweens maybe, getting to that tween stage. They're absolutely, just, they're visions of adorableness. Congratulations. Christmas, cats for Christmas. Word and Bird Nerd, yes, great. I'm glad you're here. We're just getting started. Vicky 4800. Oh my gosh, it's good to see you. It's really good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. You're going to Boston. Amazing. Okay, I think Myra's here. Everybody. M Hicks. Oh, this is great. Okay, now this is the last thing, and then we'll get started. I don't know why I'm rushing. I don't know why. Why? Because I'm trying to be, I can't gauge the room because there is no room physically. I'm looking into the void, right? And I want people to, sometimes when I give lectures, actually it happened at QuiltCon together, 2020, when it was all, 2021, when it was all virtual, anyway. So I gave 5 lectures, and the work that I put into a single lecture it's staggering. I know it because I do it, and there's nothing else that I sort of put more time into than my lectures because it's very important to me. And I believe that the slideshow is an art form. It can be amazing. I have so many slides in a given lecture. There's like almost 200 slides in a lecture that I give. It almost works as a film strip behind me. So I have like graphics and text and whatever. And it's just, I'm a perfectionist with those things. So I put so much time into them. I had 5 of those. Anyway, by the time it was, time to present them, I was so excited. And I usually do kind of a preamble. I do to set, what is the context in which we're going to get this information? I want to connect with people. And one person, it just takes one person, but one person in the chat, because the producers were, watching the chat to gather the questions so I could answer them at the end, There was this one comment that came through that was like, get to the quilts, like when are we going to hear about the quilts? And it was like, do I talk too much? Should I just get to the quilts? But it's not who I am. I don't know. We don't have a time limit, so we can just hang out. And I do want to welcome everybody because the thing is, this show is barely 4 months old. And most of the people who are here did not use Twitch before I started this thing. So what that means is you made the effort to figure out Twitch, which is sometimes annoying, and if you're wanting to chat here, as a safeguard, you have to do the 2-factor authentication thing because I don't want trolls coming in here. We're quilters, we're not delicate flowers, we're firefighters and funeral directors, by the way. But we don't need that. We don't need trolls in here, and Twitch is a lot of like adolescent boys, let's just be honest, doing video game stuff. So I keep those protections on this show, so it's, it's a little, you gotta make some effort to be led into the clubhouse here. And I really appreciate it, so I want to say hi to everybody. And so that's why we're chatty at the beginning. But there's so much quilt content. It's like, comparatively, the intro and all the stuff, compared to like the meat of the show, forget about it. Quilts win in the end. Hey, Padma. And so I wanted to read this comment by M. Hicks, who says, I had an idea for a Quilt Nerd button or patch. I'm already, like, the answer is yes. With a person with nerdy glasses, approved, wearing a quilt coat with a large button, large as in all caps, large button saying, Quilt Nerd, 1000%. Wait for it. Holding a shot glass. I'm dead. Around the edge, saying, and then around the edge of the button say, this is not your grandmother's quilt. I think that could be in the merch store. What I really love is the big glasses and the shot glass. And if you've never, if you haven't been here yet, we have a drinking game here. I don't know that we've played it yet. No, we haven't played it yet. But as quilters, we have to put up with a lot of, we have to put up with a lot of guff. And there's something that the mainstream newspapers and magazines and whatever, you know, the people outside of our really huge world, there's like 18 million quilters in America alone, and the industry is like valued at like $4 billion a year. Okay, it's really huge, but there's more people who are not in this world than are in it. And so when people who aren't in the world of quilts talk about us, they see some really cool quilt, and we're like, well, duh, because there's a bazillion of them. But they'll often say, this isn't your grandmother's quilt. You know, it'll be a headline. These aren't your grandmother's quilts. You know, welcome to QuiltCon 2022. These aren't your grandmother's quilts. And so our drinking game is every time we read that, if it comes up on the show, if I'm reading something, if I'm talking about something, we're discovering something together, and that line appears in the show, we take a shot. It's tequila for me. And whatever your thing is, I mean, and I'm gonna do it. Like, I have to do it. So now my pre-show thing is gonna be get crisps, because now I have to, water, sometimes wine, and then a bottle of tequila in case we come across that dumb, trite, like stale, meaningless thing. So that's why M. Hicks is like, put a shot glass in the merch. I think a shot glass will be merch. Okay. Oh no, Molly, that's not good. Yes, I'll have to skip the hellos eventually. Okay, okay, I'm gonna say hi to Rusty Cat Quilts because it's the first time. Chat, welcome Rusty Cat. There's cats, like cats is a theme tonight. You've been in the background for a long time, catching up on YouTube. I hope you'll make more live shows. I agree. You love the format. So do I. Okay, nobody be upset. I'm gonna skip. Jessica is quilting. You're here. Everybody's here. Okay. Yeah. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this quilt that's behind me, okay? Because it's really cool, obviously. And yeah. And let's take a look at it, and then I'll do a little introduction and just give you a brief overview about what this show holds for you, and and then we'll get to the content. And it's Twitchmas, so there's going to be extra shows. There already have been extra shows this week, and there will be more, and we can talk about that later. This is the quilt. This is the full quilt here. And let me pardon me, hang on. Let me do one thing real quick to make sure that I have this right. Okay, I didn't want to do anything weird. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Lovely. So this quilt was in the on the blog post, the web page, the URL for QuiltCon winners in 2018. So it was a prize winner that year, And in 2018, where was 2018? No. Where was it? where was QuiltCon held in 2018? Because I'm pretty sure Savannah was 2017. I mean, I'm real sure that it was, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong. 2018 was Nashville. Bang. All right. So, oh yeah, that's right. Because I was secretly engaged. Was I secretly engaged? No, I think that was 2019. Anyway. So this won a prize, and we'll talk about which prize it won in 2018. This quilt was made by Leslie Tucker Jenison. And if some of you know her, and it's for sure, that some of you do. Wait a minute. Hold on now. Just a minute. Yes. If some of you know her, please say. I am pretty nerdy about quilts, all quilts, right? But there's a whole sort of world of modern quilters, certainly like emerging modern quilters, and there's a lot in. I would say I know the least, honestly, about the modern quilt world right now. I know more about the studio art quilt world, I think, than I know about. There's so much for me to learn. So I think from what I was looking at briefly, because this is just the intro quilt. This is a light touch. We just talk about this quilt and this person briefly and then move on to sort of the main event. But this is an established person. Leslie Leslie Tucker Jenison has been around doing her thing. Hey, Caitlin. And, oh wait, Pasadena. Wait a minute. So, you know what? I think Marianne is right, Holmes. I think, okay. Yeah, Nashville was 2019 and I was secretly engaged. 2018 was Pasadena, indeed. Okay. So Leslie Tucker Jenison, this is from her website about the artist, okay? She says, quote, "At the heart of my work is a tension between the overt and the microscopic, between symmetry and irregularity, pressure and its outlet." Lovely, no? "The repeating shapes observed in both natural and man-made environments offer inspiration that frequently finds its way into my work." She's certainly articulate about her art. I went to art school for grad school, at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and I mean, it's hard to talk about art, man. Like when you make art, like how do you talk about it? She can talk about it. "The repeating shapes observed in both natural and man-made environments offer inspiration that frequently finds its way into my work. Influenced early by my paternal grandmother," we'll back up again and see the full thing in just a second. "Each part of my artistic process is challenging and satisfying. From inspiration, dyeing, and printing the imagery onto the cloth surface, to the construction and quilting of the object, each stage has its own layer of meaning, and to me, that is the beautiful difference between the quilt and other art forms." Very interesting, no? I think it's terrific. And there's a lot online about her, okay? Because she is prolific and she's been in the game for a minute. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Frozen. Okay, it's back. Oh, I just saw that. I was busy reading. Man. Okay, it seems like it's back. Twitch says Mary went offline. Well, let me do something. I think that and I'm gonna wait for the chat. Oh, I'm gonna wait for the chat. Oh, yeah, the view count dropped down pretty hardcore. So that means it kicked people off, probably. Wow, that's so annoying. I'm gonna let it roll. Going to let it roll. And see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay, hang on. Erg. Erg. It's interesting. I'm sorry that happened. I have no idea. I was reading about Leslie Tucker Jenison, and then I was like, have you all ever met her? And I looked at the chat, and everyone's like, frozen. It's like kind of embarrassing, even though, I have nothing to do with it, but it's awful. Here's the thing. This is the last stream I'm doing from London. The next time you see me, I'll be in Chicago. And the hard truth of it is that when I get back, if we haven't got fiber installed in this building, which, should happen, but I have to say, Marianne, you may know what I'm talking about. Maintenance seems to happen sort of more slowly here than it does in the States. I mean, and so it's been something Eric's working on. But I don't think, if we don't get that fiber here in the building, which doesn't seem like it's going to be that big of a deal. There's fiber everywhere else around us. I don't know that I can multi-stream to YouTube. I think that's the problem, because I didn't used to, and we didn't have the, I mean, like a couple times over the past, 3 months, it would be weird. But it's when I started multi-streaming to YouTube at the same time is when I just think the internet here can't take it. And I just don't want that to happen. So Chicago should be no problem, because it's like quick. But okay, good. But I think yeah. And I should stop the YouTube stream now, maybe. But I'm afraid to do that because I don't know what's going to happen. So if it stops again, here's what's going to happen. I will end the stream and I'll start again without YouTube. And someone, I think I saw it in the chat when I was putting things together. Someone said maybe it's like the gods telling me to go back. Maybe if the stream ends or it happens again, I should just, admit that I'm beat and go back. It's really true. But okay, so thank you for coming back. If I lost people, I'm so mad about that. But what can you do? So the quilt behind me, we were talking about it. Let's just carry on. Let's just carry on. I'll give you a little bit more about this quilt, and then we'll continue. Okay. So I'll give you more about this quilter. Okay. So here is Leslie Jamison. Okay. And by the way, I didn't tell you the name of this quilt. The name of this quilt is Nests and Vessels, #1. Okay, so Nests and Vessels, #1. The house protects the dreamer. And that, hey, NDH, thanks for coming back. I'm so glad you're back. And it's like throwing a party and spilling the pico de gallo all over yourself or something. I don't know. So that is Community Fiber, Marianne. That's who we're talking to. That's who we're working with. Myra, I love this quilt too. I just think it's really great. I was looking at QuiltCon winners and, poking around in different corners of the modern quilt world. And I thought this is going to make a great opening quilt, And by the way, it was quilted by Joanna Marsh. I recognize that name. So Joanna Marsh quilted this. This quilt is 78 by 69.5 inches. Leslie Tucker Jenison pieced it, and she's in San Antonio. Okay, San Antonio, Texas. I read to you a little bit about the artist, and here are a couple other quilts by her. If I can get this. I don't know. I mean, some quilts speak to you, and I've said it before. I mean, one of these days we will do a deep dive into QuiltCon winners from 2017. I mean, we could look at the show will go on for a very long time. I've said that many times because there's so much to look at. There's so many images, obviously, and there's so much scholarship. And we watched a film. We watched an animated film, 2 of them actually, last night for the bonus Monday night show because it's Twitchmas, and that was amazing. There's just so much to explore in the world of quilts, and I mean, there's going to be a show. A major part of a show will be looking at the winners of QuiltCon, each year, which were the Judges' Choice winners and all this, because there's so much. And 2018 was a great year, which is where this quilt won an award. Which award did it win? Hang on. But I have to say 2017, I'm always crowing about the 2017 show in Savannah. That was the year that changed everything for the modern quilts, I believe. This one Judge's Choice. Okay, hang on. Is this... Wait a minute. Okay, yeah. So, okay, I've got a few more. I think. Okay, yeah. Let me show you a couple more pictures from Leslie Jamison that I pulled from the internet. Okay. just a few, because I want you to see a little bit more of her work. So this is a piece called Golden Summer of Love. It's pretty big. And I love it. I think it's great. It looks like she's under the track, or we're looking at, the underneath of a subway, like in the Chicago Loop, it looks like. But I think here we can see that it's an ocean, right? And we're under a boardwalk or something. I think this is a great quilt too. I mean, look at the matchstick quilting on it. It's just awesome. Just totally awesome. A weekly chat. Okay. M. Hicks is saying Leslie has a weekly chat on Wednesdays. So at Leslie Tucker Jenison. And I think I saw somebody else say that she does like a live chat. So that's awesome. Okay, that's awesome. We should all check it out. And when I pull these things, I don't tell the person ahead of time, if the person is still living. A lot of times the quilts that we look at are by people who are, dead for a long time. But I could, reach out and talk to people. I'm going to feature your quilt and whatnot. But, and I'm not saying this because I'm lazy or, my list for making this show is so long and a little bit overwhelming sometimes. I'm not saying it because of that. I think it's sort of cool to deliver this content to you all without, like I could talk to Leslie and be like, I'm going to feature you on Quilt Nerd. And, I was wondering if you could answer some questions for me about this or that. Or if there's anything you want to promote, let me know, because that would be the next question. It's like, can I ask you this question and this question? What would you like to promote? Do you have a new fabric line? Do you have a live chat on Wednesday? And I can do that. And, maybe one day it'll happen. And live interviews where people talk about the work as we're looking at it is fabulous. That'll happen someday. But I don't know, like looking at a quilt in context like this, and the context being the rest of the Quilt Nerd, program from stream to stream to stream. To me, it's like we're in a museum, or we're exploring. This is all about exploration. And so I think I like it better to just let the work speak for itself. And I mean that in context with the other things. I mean, this quilt in context with, what we looked at yesterday. What was the open? Oh yeah, that crazy quilt from 1885. I don't know. I like it. Yeah. Okay, so here's a couple other Leslie quilts, and here is the lady herself. And there, yeah, when I put the show notes, I've got 2 batches to deliver tonight, and I think I can make it work. I'll give you links where these pictures were found. I dig her stuff, man. This is great. What is this called? Lily Pond. It's a clamshell. We've seen clamshells in our lives. Clamshell, it's a traditional pattern. It's the Eva. Yeah, it's an ancient motif, right? These sort of overlapping shell shapes. But, give it to a great quilter. It's like, hey, make a clamshell quilt. What are you going to do with it? And, I think about Latifah Saphir's brilliant clamshell quilt that sort of helped make her career. We'll talk about it at some point, but, Google Latifah Saphir clamshell. I forget what she called that iconic quilt, but she, as a modern quilter, worked with the clamshell quilt and made it something else. And I'm loving this. They sort of have a Japanese feel to you somehow. Like she turned the clamshells into lotuses somehow. I think it's great. Maybe it's called Lily Pond. Okay. So there's this interesting stuff going on here, right? In this Leslie Tucker Jenison work. And this I love. So we read before things froze. Maybe you heard that she uses hand dye in her work sometimes or often. And dyeing. She says, each part of my artistic process is challenging and satisfying. From inspiration, dyeing, and printing, like that first quilt we saw. I mean, the boardwalk, right? to the imagery, printing the imagery onto the cloth surface, to the construction and quilting of the object. Each stage has its own layer of meaning. And to me, that is the beautiful difference between the quilt and other art forms. Okay, so this is just a picture from her website, I believe. She was in a workshop and she was doing these hand dyes. And so this is like this grid, this neutral grid of dye that she did. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's very zen, you know? It's like you want to just fall into it, you know? Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I think the format's working, right? And it doesn't freeze up. Oh, and then this is great. The name of this quilt is El Greco's Alphabet. El Greco's Alphabet. I mean, if you've got fluorescent, you know, yellow in a quilt, I like fluorescent yellow. I think fluorescent yellow is oddly flattering on people. Really. I mean, I've had a fluorescent yellow, you know, moment in my wardrobe or something, and it's kind of good. I don't know, it like kind of bounces light or something onto the face. At least that's what I like to think. And I really like fluorescent yellow. And I really like how she used it here with pink, like this ballerina kind of pink, and this very, very faint kind of sage, like a really faint sage color, and this, you know, mossy green. I mean, it's just lovely. I just think it's really neat. El Greco's Alphabet. So certainly, you know, if we talk to the artist, you know, she's going to talk about El Greco's paintings and different shapes or different, you know, I use the word gestures too much, but, you know, different elements of the paintings that she pulled out. I mean, it just has to be, right? It would be great to talk to her about this. So, Leslie, I'm coming for you, girl. And that's it. So that's the opening quilt tonight. We're here an hour later. Good. Yeah, and the write down says, seeing the work without the artist is so good and important for a number of reasons. Agreed. Coming from the art world, interesting, the write down says, it's so important to just be with the work. Yeah. I mean, and the thing is too, is like the industry, and this may be kind of in the chat, but yeah, going on, oh my God. The industry too is so big and it's so healthy, you know. But it does get real promote-y all the time, you know, and it's like everybody's got something to sell and push, and like, great, you know, ladies doing it for themselves, you know, some books, patterns, But it really becomes, you know, I don't want to throw shade on anybody's show, but it really, you know, it's a vehicle for promotion. I mean, that's the media. Like, yeah, welcome to the world, you know, like this is how it works. But to not have that part, at least for a while, it's nice. It's just the work. So write down, I'm with you. I totally agree. And I'm glad you're feeling that vibe too. Okay. So here we go. Who among you has ever shopped at Land's End? Yeah. Land's End, the clothing store, Land's End. LL Bean, kind of. Newspapers.com. Okay, I gotta get my thing pulled up. Okay, sorry. So Land's End, for several years, had a quilt contest, and I remember reading about this, or my mom talking about this at some point. Okay, I'm gonna read to you an essay by Laurel Horton, the great, the powerful, the fabulous Laurel Horton, a quilt scholar extraordinaire in South Carolina who's just contributed so much to the quilt world of scholarship. Like, it's like her, Mary Kay Waldvogel, Bets Ramsey, you know, Questa Benberry. Like, these people, they are gods, goddesses among us, truly. Thank you. Like, from me, from all of us, thank you for all the work you've done. And Questa Benberry is gone now, but the other three ladies I mentioned are still alive and well. Anyway, so, yeah. Oh, SJ says Land's End is they're one of just a few companies that offer long inseams in women's pants. So, SJ Pepper, we know one thing about you. You're very tall. That's what it means, right? I don't make garments. I don't make pants. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. So, and Word and Bird Nerd is short. See, we're learning all kinds of things. And Yvonne is a rock star. So while I read this to you, it's not terribly long. I mean, but it's going to tell us all we want to know about the Land's End quilt contest, okay? And as we read about it, I kind of like how this is framed. The mustard in my sweater is kind of working with that quilt. As I read this to you, I'm going to go through the winners from 1992. So I guess this show's all about winners tonight. Here we go. Okay, and then I went to newspapers.com, one of my favorite nerdy things that I have a membership to, and I looked up the Land's End Quilt Contest in 1992 because it was a big deal, okay? And I found, I just got to show you. Look at what I found, and I'm going to read you this soon enough. Look at, and now, the rabbit in my hat. Okay, well, oh, really? That was like a classic moment. Yeah? Is that what that's what you're going to do to me? Okay. Fine. Don't read ahead. Ugh. God, I mean, that was like, womp womp. Okay. Look at this. This is what I'm going to read to you later. Controversy Blankets Quilt Contest. This is from 1992, from January 3rd, 1992, from a newspaper in California, and that's about the Land's End Quilt Contest. So that's what is coming, okay? So first we're going to read this thing about the show, the contest, and then we're going to get to the rest of it. That's right. So here we go. Over here. Yep. Here we go. View full screen. Oh, we're at full screen. All right. Great. Controversy. Oh, I gotta get small. Hang on. Okay. How I'm small? Okay, let me just wet my whistle here. All of these pictures are from the Library of Congress, okay? The Library of Congress has all of the winners of the Land's End Quilt Contest from 92, 93, and 94. And today, look at what I used today. I don't know if anybody was here yesterday, but I made a worksheet for myself. Look, Quilt Nerd content plan. So early this morning, because I couldn't sleep, I did all my content planning. And I was working on this show, and I pulled all of the winners from 1992. So we have 50 quilts to look at, okay? And they're all pretty wonderful, because each state had a winner. Land's End awarded a quilt from each state, okay? Here we go. This is what Laurel Horton has to say about this show. This was written... Rusty Cat, oh wow. Okay, so I'm gonna pay attention to this essay so I can move things along. So I'm gonna not be able to look at the chat just yet, but I trust that it will be robust and interesting and lovely. Okay, the Land's End All-American Quilt Contest. When people think, Laurel Horton, quote, when people think about quilts, they often picture women sitting together around a quilt frame, enjoying a communal experience. Quilts are frequently used, both literally and metaphorically, to express a sense of community. However, there is another common thread that runs throughout the history of American quilts, that of competition. Ooh, she's so good. I will pause from time to time to tell you what you're looking at, right? This is the first place winner from the 1992 Land's End Quilt Contest, okay? It was made by a quilter in Georgia, Marianne Webb, spelled like our own Marianne, one word. And this is the first place winner of the whole thing, okay? This is the second place winner. It's interesting, these pictures are huge files, which I love, you know, like TIFF images, but they're kind of blurry. Like the actual photo is not amazing resolution, but it's good enough in this file that we can zoom in a little bit, you know, here and there if we want to take a look. So anyway, so this is the second place winner, and this was made by Kathleen Rindle Brooks from Illinois. Okay, and then I'll show you the third place winner, and then we'll go through the states one by one as I read this. I ordered them all in order of alphabetical order. Okay, so that's the second place winner in 1992, and this is the third place winner in 1992, and it is it was made in Alaska by Brenda Keeher, Keehr. Okay, all right. Back to Horton. During the 19th century, state and local agricultural fairs regularly included competitive categories for quilts and other needlework. There was a strong feeling that displaying and awarding prizes to the most beautifully designed and well-constructed quilts would encourage women to improve their skills. In the 20th century, the wide circulation of women's magazines invited entries in national quilt competitions. So I don't know if you know your states well enough to keep them in mind alphabetically as we go through, but this is Alabama, and we are going to now go through. So, and we can go back to any quilt. Make a note if you want to look at a particular quilt. Let's see, can I do this? No. If you want to look at something, you know, be like the red birds, can we go back to the red birds or something like that? And then after I get this, you know, done, we can do that. Okay, so Alabama, right? Wow, look at that. Oh, amazing. The most notable of these national quilt competitions, Horton continues, was the Century of Progress quilt competition, sponsored by Sears, Roebuck and Company as part of the 1933 World's Fair in Chicago, one of my favorite moments in quilt history of all time. The first prize, so this is in 1933, okay? The first prize of $1,200 must have been a powerful incentive during the lean years of the Great Depression, as the contest attracted nearly 25,000 entries from all over the country. Yeah, let that sink in a little bit. In 1992, the Coming Home division, I can kind of move my cursor up. Before I move to the next quilt, I'll just go like this. I'll just bounce it up, and you can see which state this is from, okay? I think I would want to know that. So that's Alaska. Also, in 1992, the Coming Home division of Land's End Direct Merchants teamed up with Good Housekeeping magazine to sponsor an all-American quilt contest. From the entries received, judges selected both a first prize winner from each state and a national winner. The contest was repeated in 1994 and 1996. Oh yeah, that's right. Under the theme, If Quilts Could Talk. If Quilts Could Talk, okay? The 1994 winners were invited to submit short essays about their quilts. I haven't read this, but you know that. I discover with you all. I don't read ahead. So this is fascinating to me. I don't know. I didn't know this. The 1994 winners were invited to submit short essays about their quilts. And in 1996, all entrants to the contest were invited to do the same. Many quilt makers, look at this quilting. Girl. Many quilt makers took the opportunity to share the stories of their quilts, and while a collection of prize winners may not represent the full range of American quilts, their stories, motivations, and meanings connect them with hundreds of thousands of other quilts that decorate beds, comfort children, weddings, and birthdays, and give pleasure to the makers and their loved ones. Laurel Horton, Will you marry me? Okay, that's Arkansas. The makers of the winning quilt from all 3 years of the Land's End quilt contest were asked to submit additional information about their quilts to share with viewers of the online collection. It is clear from these responses and the original essays that the process of making and sharing a quilt can achieve many purposes, reflect many and complex meanings and relationships, and warm and comfort the spirit as well as the body. Yes, we know that. If you're new around here, you may never have thought of that, but now you have. That's what it's all about. Quilt Nerd, bang. One might suppose that the winners of national quilt contests would all be experienced, even professional quilt artists. And indeed, the state winners include a number of people who earn income from quilt-related enterprises. However, a surprising number of winners... Oh, look, it's a pincushion. Look at that. The photographer, the pincushion is... This hasn't been cropped yet. And so we have a pincushion up there. I love that. That's so great. That's so great. Yeah. This is Colorado. Okay. Colorado, you have an awesome picture for this whole thing. Okay. Indeed, the state winners include a number of people who earn income from quilt-related enterprises. However, a surprising number of winners had been quilting only a short time when they entered the contest. Some had done other kinds of sewing and needlework, and they found quilt making a natural extension of their skills. In an age of quilt classes, instruction books, and videos, remember this is written in 1999, one might assume that there are few opportunities for learning to make quilts, quote, the old-fashioned way, from members of the family. Surprisingly, however, a number of winning quilters responded that they had indeed learned from mothers, grandmothers, or friends. Others learned from church groups making quilts for charity. The majority described themselves as self-taught. And in a very real sense, this could describe every quilter. Oh, that's so interesting. I like that. That we're all self-taught. Oh, I love that idea. That's really great. Whether one is watching a video, reading from a book, or listening to words of instruction, the learning process is similar. Each quilter must consciously learn to perform the necessary motions and then practice until the actions become familiar. Bang! That's so great. We're all self-taught. I love that. I mean, of course, we give props to the people who taught us how to do stuff, but I mean, you learn when you make a quilt. And if you're making a quilt, you're the one doing it. So you are self-taught. I love that. That's so cool. This is DC. There are ongoing debates among quilters about whether quilts should be considered art or craft. A quilt, like any other individually made, wow, look at that one, individually made object, represents both aesthetic and technical considerations. Some quilts are intentionally created to serve as bed covers, while others are designed to be hung on walls. To function well as a bed cover, a quilt must be made in an appropriate size, shape, and proportion. Its weight and thickness should provide necessary warmth, and it should not be embellished with sharp objects that might threaten injury. Agreed. A quilt for a wall has different requirements. Its visual interest is paramount, and it must hang straight. Since walls come in all sizes, there's more variety in the size and shape of wall quilts. These categories are not entirely separate, of course, as many quilts can serve either function. You know what? This quilt is Florida. I love it. One of my favorites. Oh, look at this. Okay, look at this. Do you see this piecing around the border? What did we just see yesterday in that Amish toucan quilt? And I told you my mom had a quilt that had the same deal going on. It's this, ombre-ish, graduated color thing with this diagonal quilting. I mean, it's like this strip shows up everywhere. It's going to show up again in a quilt that we'll see in just a minute. I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking of one of the quilts that I love from this batch of winners. And there it is. It's everywhere. And it's puffy. It's got some puff. Crosley, you're here. Girl, we're gonna hang out. The next time I travel for lectures, it's on. Quilt Nerds in every state. I'm into it. Okay, and the thing I was going to say before I noticed this like crazy, you know, recurring theme in quilts from like, I guess the early 90s and late 80s, whatever, is that, you know, Laurel Horton, it's like, I didn't used to understand, before I was a true quilt nerd, like, I'm ashamed to admit it, but like, the academia, like the world of academia, you know, like I didn't understand how important it is for the people who are doing academic research, just how important it is. Because, you know, you read these papers, or someone's doing their thesis on like obscure French, you know, philosophy in a small town in, you know, Provence or something, and it's like, wow, who, you know, that's a really small audience that needs that. But there is an audience that needs that, and someone's doing research and needs, you know, and it finds that paper or that thesis, and it just blows open everything, and it's like this missing link to their whole idea or whatever. And so when I became a quilt nerd and started reading theses and papers and journal articles and things, I was so grateful that people had spent like years in a library, you know, feeling like a loser because they, you know, they missed another, I don't know, baby shower or something because they had to get their paper done, whatever. I mean, these deep dives are so important, and the reason I thought of it is because of this thing that Laurel Horton has written. Just, it's so simple about why a quilt, you know, is a bed quilt or a wall quilt. I mean, nobody stops to really put that into words, but an academic does, you know, a person who's really writing about this topic does. So I'm just going to repeat it because I want to say, you know, this is so important. I mean, to function well as a bed cover. Sorry. Some quilts are intentionally created to serve as bed covers, while others are designed to be hung on walls. We know this. This is a thing. To function well as a bed cover, a quilt must be made in an appropriate size, shape, and proportion. Its weight and thickness should provide the necessary warmth, and it should not be embellished with sharp objects that might threaten injury. It's like, yeah, that's true. And having that very specific definition, parameters for a bed cover helps us then identify what isn't that in a quilt, right? That's the criteria, and it's like, who writes that down? Who makes that so simple? And that's not an easy sentence to create, you know? It's the academic. Sorry, I'm just like singing the praises of, because we need it so bad. So then she goes on. A quilt for a wall has different requirements. Its visual interest is paramount, and it must hang straight. However it's oriented, I mean, however the piece looks, it has a top and a bottom, and it needs to hang straight. Since walls come in all sizes, there is more variety in the shape and size of wall quilts. You can have a wall that's 50 feet high, so you can make a quilt that's 50 feet high. No bed is 50 feet high. So with an art quilt, right, you have way more, you know, plasticity or whatever in making a quilt. It's just, it's so simple, and it needs to be said. And like, it's Laurel Horton who says it, you know, it's Mary Kay Waldvogel who says it. These categories are not entirely separate, of course, as many quilts can serve either function. Cool. Anyway. Carol Hempel, you're ridiculous. Carol Hempel says, yeah, I hate sharp objects in my bedding. The wit with this one, it's dry. It's Sahara dry. I love it. Okay. Horton goes on. I should give you another quilt. Sorry. Wow, this is Georgia. Wow. So there's a couple Georgia here and a couple Alaska, you might have noticed. It's because there was a national winner. You know, lots of people from Georgia submitted quilts. One of the people from Georgia won, I think, the top one. And then this one won the state prize. This is amazing. Holy cow. This is amazing. Even casual observers of quilts are aware that specific quilt patterns have names. Wild Goose Chase, Drunkard's Path, and Log Cabin are recognized by quilters and non-quilters alike. And these traditional patterns frequently inspire original variations. Take a guess. This is Hawaii, of course. Many quilt makers, however, bestow specific titles on their special quilts, whether the quilts use traditional patterns or represent original designs. These titles often reflect the maker's inspiration or indicate the quilt's intended purpose. Most interesting. Oh my god, the quilting on this is ridiculous. Are you serious? This is interesting. It's very like traditional meets 1992. You know, with this like transparency deal she's got going on, you know, sort of, yeah, it's really interesting. This is an interesting quilt. How she breaks the frame. She's breaking the frame, right? That grid with the quilting. That is awesome. This is amazing. Okay, sorry, Idaho. Quilt makers of the late 20th century have a bewildering abundance of fabrics from which to choose. Many purists insist upon 100% cotton material. Others look for particular colors, textures, or patterns, while ignoring the fiber content. Although quilt makers of this era typically buy new fabric, especially for their quilts, a number of state winners of the Land's End Quilt Contest indicated that they had challenged themselves to use only those fabrics already in their collections. We call that a scrap buster. Experienced quilt makers often admit to accumulating large fabric collections to provide an extensive palette from which to choose. The 1994 and 1996 contest theme, If Quilts Could Talk, inspired some entrants to make quilts specifically for the contest. Others realized that quilts they were already working on or had recently finished fit the theme. However, as a number of entrants pointed out, quote, every quilt has a story to tell, suggesting that the theme was not considered a limitation. Okay, yeah, they're like, if quilts could talk, they would all say something substantive, so, you know, my quilt counts. The narratives about the winning quilts display a remarkable range of motivations and influences. Some depict very personal stories, such as a recovery from illness or the loss of a loved one. Others make political statements about local, national, or international events and concerns. In particular, the 1992 contest attracted a large number of quilts made in response to the Persian Gulf War. Interesting. Quilts frequently celebrate birthdays, graduations, weddings, anniversaries, and retirements, and a number of the winning entries commemorate such events. Wow, Kentucky. Yeah, of course. Those Kentuckians, man. They don't come to play. These commemorative quilts include visual reminders of the intended recipients' lives and interests, such as pictorial images, actual items of clothing, or symbols of personal significance. With some quilts, the story is easily read by the viewer. With others, the meaning may not be apparent without the accompanying narrative. Without knowing the story, all we see is a pretty quilt. There you go. Nature in its many... I thought this would be more about the Land's End Quilt Contest like process, and I'm thrilled to see that it is like this meditation, you know, on like what this is. I love it. We can read a lot about what the contest was and how it worked, and we're going to read that newspaper article in just a second. This is great. Nature in its many manifestations. Oh, wow. We can't see that very well, can we? So that's obviously, it's a whole cloth quilt. It's white work. Yeah, I mean, this just is not going to happen. There's that pin cushion up at the top. You can see the beautiful border, but I mean, let's move on. We can't see that. But that was the Maine winner. Go Maine. Okay. Ugh, look at that. That's bananas. Look at the bananas, that quilting. I mean, that ribbon though, and the bows, oh man, isn't this wonderful? It's so good. Yeah, I'm gonna just catch up a little bit. Sue, the mastery they have with color, I know. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, okay, exactly. Susan, we're gonna find out. Hey, Susan. We're gonna find out. Oh, ooh. Who said that? So a commercial business, Land's End, helped to usher in the visibility of quilts as a thing. I mean, it was a huge deal because just think about it, 1992. I mean, the industry is really popping by that time. You've had a decade of like interesting quilts like continuing to grow, you know? Okay. Just one more page here of this essay. And that was the Maryland. I love it. It's like a riff, right, on album quilts, like a riff on presentation quilts. I'm super into this one. Nature in its many manifestations proves a frequent inspiration to quilters. Some express their connection to the natural world by choosing or adapting traditional floral quilt patterns, while others describe the attempt to paint with fabric. Good timing on this. For some, I don't think that's all, I don't know. For some, nature is as near as the backyard, or a favorite walking trail. Others are moved to interpret a vista from a vacation or childhood memory, like the little film we watched yesterday. Contest winners describe the challenges of recreating in fabric the emotional qualities evoked by the power and beauty of natural landscapes. Wow, that's what? Look at that lattice. Like this thing. What is that thing? What? What kind of trash you talking? That's ridiculous. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at the quilting. Okay, you know, the modern quilters, you know I love you. We all love you. We are you. It's all one quilt. It's one quilt story. We know that. Nobody knows it better than us. But the whole matchstick quilting style, you know, it's a hallmark of the modern quilting style. It really is. A lot of people use this matchstick tiny, tiny quilting. Well, how about that? How do you like your matchstick now? That is intense. Are you feeling this? I mean, yeah, Rusty Cat, Rusty Cat says those pastels and peach tones are speaking to your childhood in the 90s. Same, Rusty Cat. And that hunter green, I mean, that's an 80s thing. But anyway, oh my God, I mean, for real. And I don't know, listen, we can find out. Long arms. I mean, I want to do a show on long arms. When were long arms like officially a thing that some people bought? You know, because to me, 92, as far as I know, that's domestic machine. I don't think that's long armed. I don't think that was a thing. Are you seeing this? It looks like sand. It looks like grains of sand. I'm just freaking out. And this little business here, this moment, this lattice moment, that's not paint. I mean, that's applique. I'm not, this is not okay. Who made this quilt? Hang on. I didn't have time to put the names. I will, because I have to have the right file names on things, or everything will fall apart. This is the Michigan winner, 1992, Michigan State winner of the Lands and Quilt Contest, Edna R. Harbison. Well, oh God, every one of these records has comments from the person. So like I said before, get like a little list, you know, jot down, you're like, oh, I want to see the matchstick quilting one, and we'll go back, you know, we can go back and look at like 4 or 5 of these, and I could read to you, like, because like Edna has stuff to say. I got stuff to say. So here, let me just say, here's the question. How did you choose the materials no. Hold on. How long have you been making quilts? What was your here's a question they asked La Harbison. What was your primary reason for entering the Land's End contest? Do you frequently enter your quilting competition? And Edna says, quote, I had drawn a sketch of this quilt several years before the contest. It had been inspired by my husband and I building and moving into a tiny log cabin in the isolated woods of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Oh yeah, that's some isolated woods. When a friend gave me the information on the contest, I just had to make it. You know. Yes, I have entered many quilt and art competitions in the past. So far, I have received over 42 awards. God bless her. She's like, oh, I've done this before. Oh yeah, I'm not, I knew that I would probably win. I mean, I love that. She's like, oh yeah, I'm an artist. I've won awards. Okay, let's move on from Edna. I'm sorry. I was stopped in my tracks. And I'm stopped in my tracks again. I love this quilt. This is awesome. Minnesota. Many quilters find that fabric is an effective medium through which to explore and express the spiritual dimensions of their lives. This is seminal patchwork, no? Don't you think? I can't say for sure, but the process of creating a quilt is for many a rich and profound experience. Some quilters feel a deep sense of union with their own ancestors. With generations of past quilt makers, or with the creation of the universe. I told you. You know, it's important. Quilts are really important. While quilters have many tools and techniques to choose from to facilitate the process, the truth is that making a quilt, particularly a prize-winning quilt, takes time and personal commitment. No matter what the impetus for making a particular quilt, nearly all the contest winners reported that the challenge of designing, constructing, and completing their quilts rewarded them with a strong sense of achievement. Yeah, this is the Mississippi quilt. I love this. These petty points, like, yeah, and they're perfect. They're perfect, you know? Like, they're perfect, and that's what you gotta kind of be if you want to win these things, but those petty points are just, they're divine. Oh, wow, this is Missouri. Okay, while quilters have many tools and techniques to choose from. Oh, no, I already did that. When the winners were asked their primary reason for entering the contest, many responded that friends and relatives had encouraged them to do so. Others saw this, Montana, others saw this as an appropriate way to share a suitable quilt and its story. The state winners reported a wide range of experience in entering quilt competitions. A large number regularly enter and win prizes in national and regional contests. I mean, clearly these are some talented people, right? I want to see the rejects, you know. I probably like those even more. Some quilters indicated that they enter a few shows every year. Oh! Nebraska. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I like it a lot. I mean, the printing on a you know, I'm not always into that, the silk screening printing thing, but this works. This works. It's so stark and just, oh man. Yeah, that's really good. Really good. So they enter shows every year, yet a surprising number of the winners revealed they had rarely or never entered a quilt contest before. For many of these, the contest theme and urging of friends were important factors in their decision to enter this contest. Quilters who regularly show their quilts through contests and shows and magazines found that being a winner in this particular contest did not change their lives or the way they look at their work as quilt makers. So that was one of the questions. Has this contest changed your life? Others, however, reported that being a winner meant that their families, friends, and communities took their work more seriously, and that being recognized as experts, quote unquote, has boosted their self-esteem and allowed them to see themselves as artists. Another group responded that they continue to make quilts because they enjoy the process. The recognition is nice, they say, but less important than the feeling of personal satisfaction. In closing, although this group of prize-winning quilts does not represent a true cross-section of the work of American quilt makers, true, the quilt makers' responses indicate the wide range of experience that influence how the quilts are envisioned and brought to reality. Each quilt is the result of a unique process of inspiration and construction, and each has a story to tell. Cool. Okay. I mean, there's a few more quilts to look at. How cool was that? Yeah, Marianne, I mean, I'm a prairie girl. I'm a Midwesterner, so that Nebraska quilt, it spoke to me. This is great. This is great. Look how this is constructed. It's this, it's like snail trail pattern, but adapted, like messed with. It's strippy. You know? I like that. It's scrappy and strippy in the points, and it's the snail trail pattern, but it's It's wonky. I think that's great. New Jersey. Well done. Pretty perfect log cabin, I would say. New Mexico. Cool. Now that's an interesting size. Talk about a wall being any size. Every size. Huh. I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, sorry. Talk about like these, you know, Laurel Horton was like some of these things cross over. Like you can have traditional quilts that can go on the wall, and you can have arty quilts that can be used on the bed. I mean, this is a very good example. And I don't know, like to me it's a little bit like it's not my favorite, and the reason is because it's so traditional, which is great. I love a log cabin. I mean, obviously, like, but it is a very unusual shape. It's like it's like they didn't take it far enough or something. I mean, this is obviously just my opinion, but we're looking at quilts, right? And we're analyzing things and thinking about them. And I think this one, it's like if it was twice this size, it would be like, whoa, like it would be it would be a mood, you know? But as it is right now, like it's just a little too long to be a bed quilt, but it's not quite, it didn't get pushed far enough to really be like an arty quilt. I don't know. And if you love it, great. Like I hope that you do feel differently. Because that's what it's all about. You're obsessed. SJ, which one are you obsessed with? This one? Yeah, the Celtic symbol. Okay, SJ, so you're obsessed with this one? I love it. If you're obsessed with this one, then we're doing our job here, because we all have different ideas and opinions and, you know, tastes and everything. I love it. God, great. I mean, great. It's great. It's great. Okay, so New York, incredible. I mean, the workmanship, you can see the quilting a little bit, pretty picture here, resolution wise. You love both of them, the last two. Love it. This is intense. I mean, North Carolina, really, like this use of chintz here in the coxcomb kind of shape. It's wild, man. I love a floral on a dark ground. You know, anytime you have beautiful, colorful flowers on black or navy blue, I'm totally there for it. I think it's romantic in a way that has teeth. You know what I mean? I like florals on a dark ground. I'm pretty much a fan across the board. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm in the minority on the log cabin. I don't know. Crazy. Okay. This is North Dakota. I've never been to North Dakota. Sorry, I think I have I don't know. I was like grinding my jaw last night or something. Anyway, probably because I have a lot to do, and I should go pack and all that stuff. But we're not done yet here. This is Ohio. I mean, this almost looks like a kit quilt, but you can tell that it probably isn't. There's embroidery here for sure, like the leaves and the little sprigs are for sure embroidered. Oh, look how nice. Like the little berries. The color work on those is really something. I mean, these berries here are, you know, that's you know, shade 1 of the pink that was used. This is another shade of pink, and then you have these white ones. It's wonderful. It's so good. I mean, you know, this is like, it's just one contest in 1 year of quilts in America, right? Like, this is like what we do. Oh, that's Ohio. Oh, love it. Oklahoma. Oh, this is a 3D situation. We've got like sculptural elements here. Look, she's swinging on a swing. And there's our little piper and our drum. Everyone is very white in Oklahoma here. It's okay. I mean, it is what it is, right? the Statue of Liberty is towering over it. And I mean, you know, I don't want to take away from it. I was just looking for like the story of Oklahoma, and there's one story being told, and it is a story with lots of quilts and girls on swings, and it's very lovely. And look at this buggy here going into the wild blue yonder. It's great. Compositionally, I think this is really successful. And someone was saying, Holmes says, I love how they recognize such a wide variety of quilt styles. I agree. None of the gatekeeping of only traditional, art, or modern of so many contests. 1,000%. I'm with you. North Carolina in general is intense, says Carol Hempel. Yeah, the level of detail is crazy. It's awesome. Is this another kimono, perhaps? It is, in a different kind of form. It's another kimono. What is the deal with the kimonos? Oregon. One thing that's kind of consistent here is the quilting on, I think, all of them. The quilting in particular. The composition, great. Like, there's so many great designs and, you know, there's traditional art, whatever. But don't you think that's true that, like, from quilt to quilt, there is some serious, like, quilt skill? I mean, come on. Really? You've got clamshell, you've got stars, you've got rob Peter to pay Paul kind of deal going on here, and then we can't see it with the white on the screen very well. But this, I can detect like a smaller clamshell right here and a smaller star. I mean, that's really something. That's really something. Wow. Wow. And this is Oregon. Yeah. Wow. SJ, go to your meeting. It is our pleasure. Absolutely. I'm always glad that you're here. Neflinster. Have I said hi to you? Yeah. Okay, Karen, did I miss you? Did I miss something? Marianne. Did I don't know. If I missed something, I'm so sorry. I don't know what, Karen, if I missed a comment from you, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm trying to keep the show moving, but I want to say hi and I want to do things. Anyway, Marianne, thank you for making sure people are taken care of. This is important to me. Okay. So, Pennsylvania. Simple but effective. Again, this like transparency that they're playing with is really interesting. And again, the quilting. Wow. Okay, honeycomb. You don't see a lot of honeycomb. I don't. Do you see a lot of honeycombs patterns in quilting? Maybe. But to me, I look at that and I'm like, oh yeah, honeycomb. What a great motif. I just don't feel like I have seen it in a while. And this star, the 6-pointed star, I mean, it's like, it seems to me like a Jewish star set on point. You know? You see what I'm seeing? Not set on point. Yeah, well, set a little differently, right? Star of David. Is that right? All right. Here's the pincushion. Okay. We just have a few left, really. Rhode Island. Very traditional. Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's good. The picture isn't totally great for Rhode Island. This is South Carolina. Laurel Horton's home. Oh, look at this. Like, the quilting in this is just crazy. All of these pictures are viewable, and there's more to each record at the Library of Congress, the link for which will be in the Discord. I always get to the show notes. Just takes time. Okay. Yeah. Like this swag bunting is really, really beautiful. Okay, good, Karen. South Dakota. The grid. There's just so many different kinds of quilting in each one. That's just it's just kind of really noticeable to me. Okay. I've made my point. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know what this setting is. I mean, it's just curves. It's all pie and crust. That's what I call it. Except for the border, which is like a sugar cone border. Is that what that's called? Sugar cone? Ice cream cone. Ice cream cone border is what I would call it, what my mom has called it. But each of the blocks, I mean, the blocks are just really simple. They're just this, you know, it's a pie and crust. And the whole quilt is made with one block. And, you know, it's wild. I've seen quilts like this before. I've seen this layout. I don't know. What do you think? Are you into it? Whose is it? It's Tennessee. Interesting. Have you ever done an ice cream cone border? Very popular. I feel like I've seen a lot of quilts in the 30s that were doing the ice cream cone border. And I'm thinking of Sugar Loaf, which is a quilt block. Texas. I love this. I think it's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fabrics. That's all. There's red, blue, green, yellow, and white. Interesting. There's some chat messages that are getting lost because Dee Marie says that she didn't see your comment at all, Karen. Okay, well, in my show notes on my form, I will have to take a look at if there were things missed out. I don't know. Anybody want to be my IT person? Okay, this is Utah and very moody, very dark. It's great. This print. Okay, this is interesting. Like as quilters, you know, we look at other quilts for ideas and things. I mean, this really intense sort of Baroque print, directional. It's not, yeah, it's a stripe, right? I mean, look how she fussy cut that stripe. Because, okay, I'm going to zoom in really tight and it'll be kind of a lot and blurry. But you see this piece right here? Okay. Oh, I'm glad, Karen. Okay. This piece here, you know, is the same fabric used in the border. And if you just kind of keep that piece in mind, okay, that little sort of swoop, how it goes into a swoop. I mean, that is this. It's the same piece, you know, only like turned a different way. It's pretty amazing. It's really something. And you know, Laurel Horton said in her essay that, you know, a lot of the quilters talked about not buying new fabric and using what they had. I wonder if that was one of them, you know. Okay, we've got Vermont. We're in the V's. Just a few more quilts left. I really like this. I really like the way she did the sky here. Very, very cool. Pictorial. Yeah, they really got a wide variety, you know. Interesting. Rusty Cat, I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad you were here for a live show. You're very welcome here, and I hope you come back. Thank you. Good night. And Virginia, I don't know, this was the picture they had. They didn't have a flat shot for Virginia, but beautifully executed. All solid fabrics, which is interesting. Okay, and Washington State, I don't know. I feel like this could be a this is a Paducah kind of thing. This is a Paducah quilt. Many of these, you know, are this, you know, that kind of level of artistry and all that. But this, when I look at a quilt like this, I'm like, yes, I see this at AQS show. It's just kind of perfect. And to be honest with you, it's a little too perfect. I mean, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, but it's like those Baltimore album quilts. I feel a little bit shut out of something like that. Just, I don't know, it kind of transcends a quilt and becomes a tapestry or something. And I don't know. I love all of them, but this one, you know, I have ones that I liked even more in this series of quilts. And this is West Virginia. I like this one a lot. Simple. Again, the quilting is really, really intense. It's great. Washington State is well represented in this group. Totes. And I believe Wisconsin. Is Wisconsin the last? Oh, no, sorry. Wisconsin and... Sorry, Wisconsin. You did not get your moment. We need your moment. Okay. Wow. Oh, and what a moment it is. That's really... Wow, that's really something. Oh, look at the houses, like the schoolhouses or the little factories in the corner. And look, oh, down here. This is great. This quilt is cool. This reminds me of Crazy City. If you've ever seen the quilt Crazy City, we should definitely have that be an opening quilt at some point. Wow, yeah. So cool. and the Tree of Life blocks. There's so many different blocks. This is awesome. I really like this one. It's a favorite for sure. And then the last quilt we have is Wyoming. What a lovely way to end this parade, you know, of these 50 quilts, 53 actually. Yeah, people holding hands. There we have, yes, we have the American Indians, African Americans. We've got little maybe fireworks or something. This is real sweet. Sweet indeed. Okay. So, yeah, I love this too. Yeah, Sue, I admire the talent. I'm the same as you. I admire the talent of those amazing confections, you know, those like Baltimore album quilts and like those things that are sort of perfect, but it's you don't want to do it yourself, that's good. I don't want to do it, and that's good because I don't think I could. So here's the last thing I want to share about this Land's End Quilt Contest, and there's more to say, and actually I did think Laurel Horton's essay would talk a little bit more about how the contest came to be and everything, so we can find more about that, and we can do this again at some point in the future and look at the winners from 1994 and 1996, and I can learn more about it. But here's what I found from that year. Controversy Blankets Quilt Contest. Okay, so let me make this kind of like as big as I can get it. So who would have thought a quilt contest could be controversial? These aren't your grandmother's quilts. After all, what is warmer and cozier than a quilt? Okay, so this writer is saying, I found out. I innocently suggested to an avid quilter that she participate in the Coming Home with Land's End All-America Quilt Contest. Silence. This is pretty dramatic. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Now that you've seen like the front page, let me just go over here and bring up just like a couple of my favorites. Okay, hang on. All right. Because I like you to look at like good things. Okay. Oh, this one's back. Okay. So the top prize is $10,000. $10,000 in 1992. The top prize is $10,000. So the writer goes on. I told her that. Silence. In the room full of quilters where we were standing, you could have heard a pin drop on a quilt. It seems that Little Dodgeville, Wisconsin, headquarters of the Land's End Direct Mail Company, so they're based in Wisconsin, I think they still are, is the site of a patchwork of controversy. Coming Home with Land's End is the company's home products catalog. In addition to the sheets, pillowcases, and towels in the catalog, there are a number of pages of quilts. Quote, it's kind of a touchy subject with quilters because some of the patterns we sell are made in China, unquote, said Michelle Casper, Land's End Consumer Publicity Director. Touchy subject? One might say so. While some of the Land's End quilts are made in the United States, the Amish pattern in particular, most are made in China. U.S. quilters argue that based on the catalog's prices for the quilts, the Chinese quilters cannot be making as much money as they should for their tedious handwork. Thank you, for advocating, right? Second, they believe the prices undermine what American quilt makers should earn for their work. The reality is many people would never pay the hundreds and even thousands of dollars charged for a handmade American art quilt, and more than they would buy an equally worthy piece of sculpture. But they might become interested in owning a quilt after seeing one in a catalog. So, very interesting. So she talks a little bit more about the controversy, and then she says, anyway, if you have a month to make a winning quilt, Land's End, the first quilt contest for Land's End is accepting slides of completed quilts until January 31st, 1992. The contest is co-sponsored by Good Housekeeping magazine, which sponsored another national quilt contest in 1972. Didn't know it. Jenny Beyer, winner of that first contest, has gone on to establish her own highly successful quilt fabrics design firm, as well as a teaching and lecturing career. Wow. Casper says Land's End had no hidden agenda for the quilt contest. They wanted to take part in the development of this fine art, which has become quite popular, she said. The contest has been accepting entries from California for 10 months. Contest quilts must be 30 by 40 inches or larger, and their design must be original or an original execution of traditional pattern. For an entry blank, write to the All-American Quilt Contest, Land's End, Dodgeville, Wisconsin, Besides the first prize, let's take a look at those first three, the winners, right? The first, second, and third place winners. This is the first place winner. Besides the first prize, there is a $3,000 second prize and a $2,000 third prize, plus $100 gift certificate prizes for one winner in each state and the District of Columbia. After the February judging by Good Housekeeping Editor-in-Chief John McCarter, Art Institute of Chicago curator Krista Thurman, and others, interesting, the winners will be announced in the June issue of Good Housekeeping in the Land's End catalog. This is the second place winner from Illinois. If you have nothing left to do after you finish that art quilt, the Kentucky Quilt Project has an idea. The American Quilt Celebration will be held in February in Louisville. Interesting. So this paper was out of California. That's why that California reference was mentioned. Oh my God, listen to this. There's 2 little paragraphs left. Californians participating in the conference in Kentucky will include the fabric artist Jean Ray Laurie and Esprit Quilt Collection curator Julie Silver. Quilt nerds, this is like a bounty of quilt nerdery. You know these names, right? Among the other participants in the conference will be museum directors, this is the third place winner from Alaska, art professors, sociologists, quilt artists, and quilting teachers. For information and registration form, write the blah, blah, blah. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. I think that was pretty fascinating. Where's my Wisconsin quilt? I like this Wisconsin quilt. I think it's great. Yeah, I really think it's pretty great. Open. So what do you think about that? Yeah, it's pretty great, right? Did my mom enter? No, she entered the Great American, the one from 3M. She entered that one, and she won from Iowa. That was in 86. So that was one that predated this. What's written on the stripes in the first place quilt? Good question. I don't know if we can see it or not, but let's take a look. Hold on. Just come back to me. I don't know why you want to be like that. Probably because I'm a little bit tired. I've been on for 2 hours. I thought I'd been on for 3 hours. That would be kind of intense. Let me see what's going on here. So, yeah, there it is. No. Why does it show up there? I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah. Great. Cool. That's never happened before. I think that makes sense. We've got the first quilt, that we began with, the desktop quilt, and the one that we're going to end on, because it just happened that the 4 hours of sleep that I got, because I'm so excited to go home to Chicago the day after tomorrow, just caught up to me. I think it just caught up to me. Maybe as the host, I should not even say that and just do a big finish, but I feel like I can be honest, and I just got kind of tired. So I don't know what the words say. I mean, I think you can make them out. So when I put the link, because see, that's the thing, I still have to do show notes from last night and tonight and make my thumbnail and do all that stuff. So I think I'd better do what Marianne tells me to do, and she tells me to pace myself. And I'm so grateful for you, and you know that. And so what I want to say is thank you for coming tonight. And if there's any issue with the chat where messages are dropping out or something like that, it's just one more thing on my list to take a look at, and nothing is more important to me than making this really functionally, technically functional. So the show dropping out, and then chats if they're getting missed, with that. And not that you're saying that it was, Karen, but it's just never personal. I just it's it's reading the chat and doing the stuff. If I miss anything, or I'm so sorry. It's new. It's a new skill, and it's really interesting to learn how to like read the chat and get back to the thing. So if I miss you, it's never anything personal. It's just tech, man. And I mean, I'll see you in Chicago. I'll see you in Chicago. And I think that oh yeah, here's the last thing. Okay, yeah, I had two announcements. Hang on. Don't go nowhere. That eagle. Look. Wait, hold on. I'm getting punchy. Two things that are important. I tried to change my username on Twitch to Quilt Nerd so that it would be twitch.tv/Quilt Nerd. Can't do it. I don't know why exactly, but I tried to do it and it said it wasn't available. And it could be because they're trying to protect, the content from being, what if somebody called their Twitch channel Quilt Nerd? That could be a big problem. So it's just going to be what it is. Yo, Mary Fonz. That's like the way I've been, called my whole life. Yo, Mary Fonz. So it's not going to change as far as until you hear differently. And, here's the other thing, and I'm going to put this list in the Discord. This is with my content. I've actually already got it all typed up, and I need to post it there. I need some help. There are a number of videos and films, cool stuff, that needs to be transferred, that needs to be like digitized. And I know that sounds like, whoa, you need help with that, eh? Like, that's a major project. But I'm looking for someone with a VHS player who could rent one of these, like there's this little film called Crazy Quilt by Donald McWilliams, and it's like really cool looking, but you can't stream it, you can't watch it, there's no video on YouTube or Vimeo. And I have this really interesting list of content, like quilt film stuff that's only on VHS. So if somebody's interested in finding, one person could find one, another person could find another one. There's a couple of them are PBS shows, like Georgia Quilts. There was like a special on Georgia Quilts for PBS, like the affiliate in Georgia. You can only get it on VHS. I don't have a VHS player. I bet some nerd has got a VHS player, maybe. But if you could get it through your library and put it on a CD-ROM and then put the CD-ROM, on the computer or something, it'd be great, for the show. It'd be great to have that content available for some future show. So I'll put that list there, and if somebody can help, that's great. Still updating the schedule. I will see you in Chicago. I cannot wait. Oh my God. I'm so excited. It's going to be so weird. I've been having anxiety dreams because I'm just like, oh, what's it going to be like to go back to home? So anyway, take care, and you are great. Merry Christmas. Be safe. Wear your mask and get your jab if you can. And first time chat from Cindy. Cindy, you got right in the you kicked it in the clutch. You got in right under the wire. We were so glad.